This is Thomas Morley's two-part fantasia, La Caccia, the hunt or the chase. Here it's transposed down a fifth so it fits nicely on tenor and bass viols. We're going to look at the tenor part and then I will play you the bass part so we can play them together. The hunt or the chase. It's going to be fairly lively, I think. Let's just have a go from the top. So 3, 4, 1, 2. Should we stop there for a second? That's quite a lot, isn't it, in one go? I think at the beginning, there's actually not terribly much to think about. You want to start at the tip on a forward bow. I think you want to start with a kind of purposeful, rather than that kind of more lugubrious sort of sound that viols do so well. I think we need to not do that in this. So just a little bit of front to the note, plenty of bow, plenty of sound. Half position and you can bar the B flat to the E flat. Fairly straightforward, isn't it, that opening phrase. And going on then, chordal fingering here in bar 5. Now I'm in first position by the end of that. How did I get there? Bar 6. I've got a second finger on the F, and that is going to become important right about now in bar 7 when you need your full finger for the top C. So come out of the chordal fingering in 5 into first position. So second finger's on the F's in bar 6. And then in bar 7, after that F, that's the end of the phrase, isn't it? Tuck another back bow in here, so the top C comes on a back. So with a right way round. I think this is bar 8. I've got a third finger on the F's at the end of that bar, so I'm back in half position. It doesn't really matter how you get there. You just need to make sure you've got the finger left to play the E flat with in bar 9. So if you're in first position and you're reaching back, it's absolutely fine. I just happened to move slightly earlier, so you need a 1 left for the E flat. And then it fits really nicely in half position, doesn't it? I think you've got to watch for lots of places where there's that little slightly rumba-like offbeat rhythm. Just enjoy putting as much sound as you can into the minim, so it really kind of accentuates that offbeat slightly funky feel to the rhythm, and it comes from not prodding the crotchets. So the crotchets don't stick out, and giving really good quality sound to the minim. Let's go from the top. Plenty of bow, plenty of sound. 3, 4. Now I would put another back bow, so that's the second B flat crotchet in bar 10. It's going to start on a back again. And I think I'd go for a full finger on the G. Another back bow. So every time that phrase starts with 3 crotchet upbeats, making sure that it's a back bow, and each time it comes it involves a tuck, but that's fine because it's a natural place to breathe anyway. So that was in bar 10. 10 starts, another back bow here. There's a question in 11. Do you want to play that in first position, fourth finger on the D? Or is it better? I don't think it matters. Don't do what I just did and think about it on the way and then pause while you decide. Make a choice and write it in and do it. So the question is in bar 11. Do you think of yourself in first position and play the D with a 4? Do you cross the string? I don't think it matters, but it matters that you've decided so that there isn't a great pause while you think about it. Shall we play from bar 10, from the last 3 crotchets of the bar? Bar 10, the last 3 crotchets. You're going to be quite near the tip of the bow, but it is still a back bow. Little crotchet, but you're already quite near the tip because of what's come beforehand. So we're in after 3, 2, and 3. Stopping there a second. This is, I'm looking at bar 13. After the crotchet rest, it's naturally going to be a back bow, 3 upbeat crotchets. I would play this next bit in first position. So I've got a 4th finger on the G, and I'm reaching back for the E flat and the B flat, and a 4 on the D. I just find it slightly tidier than all the open strings, although actually it's quite a nice sound, isn't it? So try both and see what you think. I settled on that in first position, reaching back. I think the last crotchet of 14 could be another back bow. So then I started 17 at the tip on a forward bow. I'm not sure it really matters for this. The thing, if you start it that way round, this next dotted rhythm is a little bit backwards. And then the strong weak there is a little bit backwards. But if you start this back, I think there's such a risk of that sticking out for the sake of getting this. So I like the fact that in 17, I think the features of that bar are that you're in on an offbeat, that you need to hear 1, and the clean kind of ping on the offbeat, which is much, much easier on a forward bow. And I think it's really important that the crotchet doesn't stick out and that you favour the top note. So I think on balance, that is better. This is 17, I think it's better at the tip. It's better on a forward bow than on a back. And then you just live with the fact that 18 and 19 are maybe not quite the way round that you'd want, but I'm not sure it matters. Does that make sense? This is bar 13 from the last 3 crotchets. It will be a back bow and we're going to play it in first position. 2 and 3. Told you about this next bit. This needs to be chordal fingering, doesn't it? And so does 14 between the C and the F at the end of 14, and in 17 between the F and the B flat. When you play chordal fingering, here's a tip. I've talked a lot about this in the last few videos, but I actually haven't said. If you chordal finger, and when you put the next finger down, whichever pair of fingers you're using, when you put the second one down, if you take the first one off, then you might as well just have used the same finger twice. the whole point of using two different fingers is that you can leave the bottom finger down, so that note will carry on as resonantly as it can, instead of hearing it stop when you move your finger across. But lots of people I see, they really carefully work out their chordal fingering, and that's, oh, that's a place where I need to use two different fingers, and then they do this, and it completely defeats the object. So when you mark your chordal fingering, when you see where it should be, make sure that you keep down whichever finger you put down first, and when you put the second one down, you are adding it to what is already there, not replacing the one that you put down first. Let's do that again. This is 13, the end of 13, the last three crotchets. 2 and 3. Stopping there a minute. So the last crotchet of 19, the one that's tied over, I think that needs to start on a forward bow. Brings lots of stuff after it out really nicely. And I also think that in 20, it's quite nice to have short. When things jump, it's nice to make them short and keep the lively character. In 21, I'm inclined to cover that G with a 4, the last note of the phrase. Even though you're about to play the G string, I think it's nicer to finish the phrase on a covered note and then swap string for the start of the next phrase. The bowing actually is going to work the other way round. And I think the fingering in there is okay, isn't it? So let's go from the last crotchet of 19 at the tip on a forward bow, looking for two really nice lifted crotchets in 20. Last crotchet of 19 then. 3 and 4. Just look at that. I like that, starting on a forward bow. This is 24. Again, just because it's the offbeat thing, and I want to hear a really clear start to that, and just riskier, I think, on a back bow. So start it forward. And I know that quavers come out backwards. You win some, you lose some, don't you? I think we can live with that. I would play 2, 4, 2 in 25 for the C, the D, the C. Comes out nicely at the end of the bar. Let's just do that. This is 24 from after the rest on a forward bow with a nice, not too violent, just a bit definite rather than creeping in. 24. 1 and 2. Lots to think about in there. So 26, after the crotchet rest, it's got to be a back bow, hasn't it? It needs to get you to the tip. And I think it needs to be quite a quick bow, rather than it's just a bit lacking in energy. It needs to have a real... So quick, lively crotchets. Then I would do 1, 2, 4 fingering wise. Chordal fingering here between the F and the C. And then a bar between the E flat and the B flat. Chordal fingering again. And then you need to be in first position, otherwise, here, you're going to run out of fingers. Let's just whiz through that again. This is 26 after the crotchet rest. Starting it on a back bow. 1, 2, 4. Chordal fingering. Bar. Chordal fingering. First position. And that's that section. Shall we just play that much? Let's go from 26 from and after the crotchet rest. 26. 1 and 2. Now this next bit is one of those places where the phrase is going to alternate and every other one you're bowing is going to be backwards. So it's always nice to start a dotted crotchet on a forward bow and let the quavers fall away. But the problem is, if you do that first one forward, the next one will come backwards, the next one will come forwards. Life is too short to sort them all out onto forward bows. It's just not worth it. So I would do the bowing completely as it comes from here. And just make sure that the top note, the dotted crotchet, has a real good amount of bow and a good clean start to it. And that the bottom crotchet is just very small and not at all sticking out. The risk in here is that you play and you get to the bottom one and it comes out as a kind of springboard because your bow is on its way up to the next string. So just watch. So it will start in 29, the first one, the top G, will come out on a back bow, and I think that you shouldn't correct it. I think you should just leave it and bow it through. So this one will be back, this one will be forward, this will be back. You will of course hold the B flat down at the bottom, won't you, in 30. That one has to stay there. And this last one, which is much the longest of the lot, comes out really nicely on a forward bow. You have to chordal finger at the end of 30, so the last note of 30, whatever position you're in, you'll either have a 2 or a 3 on that C. If it's a 2, chordal finger to a 3 on the F. If you've already got a 3 down, fine, use your little finger for the F. And then we're all right to the end, aren't we? So let's go from 26 again, but this time with the intention of going all the way through. 26, back bow, nice lively speedy bow. 1 and 2. Let's play it through then from the top. Plenty of bow, remember. Lots of bow, plenty of sound at the beginning. 3, 4. you're on your own on the tenor part, then I'm going to play the bass. I think we'll do this at 2 different speeds because it's quite nippy, isn't it, once it gets going. So let's have a nice friendly practice speed to start with, where the quavers are just not too quick. And I get the whole of the first bar to myself, so I'm not going to count, I'm just going to play. Here we go. It's quite a steady chase, isn't it, at that speed? Shall we try a quicker one? Let's have a think about how fast we might want these quavers to go. Let's try that then as a new speed. Just think about that for a second. Don't panic. And I'll start.